Hello and welcome! Today I will be showing you how to create this beautiful and yet very simple CV in Notion that you can later export to PDF or use as a part of your job application process together with some of my templates. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so we begin with the Training Dojo. This is the place where I develop all of my templates, and we start by creating a new page. You can start in your workspace and just create a new page and call it, in this case I call it My Simple CV. It needs to be formatted, so we're gonna be going into the three dots and we're gonna be putting it full width because I really would like it to take the majority of the screen. I'm gonna hide also the sidebar so it's not distracting, and we're gonna be putting some sort of an icon here. We're gonna be uploading, let's see, we're gonna be uploading my picture so you can have it as a, yeah, there we go. Take a look. What does it look like? It looks really ugly. It doesn't capture my good side at all. Yeah, I would almost like to use an emoji here. Okay, jokes aside. Now, what we want to do, we want to make sure that this title is following a two-column structure, which is kind of the most important thing in CVs nowadays, because if you're just keeping to a single column, it's not that modern. So let's create a couple of headers, which we're going to be shuffling around. So here we put the professional title. What do you want to be called? What is the job that you're applying for? Then we're gonna be putting in the heading 3, which we're gonna be calling, let's post first an emoji. We're gonna be putting up the phone number, so we're gonna be putting the contact details. And the contact details will be consisting of multiple things, obviously. The phone number, location, state, whatever, location, state, country. So for example, like Stockholm, Sweden, in my case. Then we're gonna be putting the phone number. And of course I'm not gonna put my phone number, because if you thought that I'm not so lucky to have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. I do work for a telecom operator, but I'm not that lucky. And then we're gonna be putting an email. For example, hello@xyz.com or hi@xyz.com. It's even shorter, makes nicer. And then you want to be putting the LinkedIn profile where needed. Because, well, let's face it, LinkedIn is the main driver of job applications nowadays. So we're also making sure that we're following the two-column setup, where one column is actually the sidebar on the left-hand side, while the other one is the main area where the CV will be developed. Then we're going to be creating a new header. We're going to use the H3 for that. We're going to be call it the profile summary. The profile will be an about me section that briefly describes yourself. What are your goals? What are your motivations? What are you trying to, what is your professional background, what are your talents, and what are you trying to achieve? So think of it like executive summary, an elevator pitch. If you would see a potential boss or a potential employer in an elevator, this is like a brief paragraph that you would need to pitch it to them to get them to say those magic words. Tell me more. As outlined by one of the most famous TED speakers, the whole purpose of the CV is to hear your potential employer say those 3 magic words. Tell me more. Yes, also remember to keep it brief and impactful. Okay, so for the time being, we're gonna be aligning those things later. Right now, my main goal is to just have those to roughly align, which we're making it work, and then later we'll make it beautiful. So let's say if we can make a person, I mean, Notion is a visual, and templates are visual products, so if you're using Notion to apply, there's a chance you're applying for somebody who likes Law and Order and is actually a Notion fan, so you might as well customize it to make it beautiful. So I'm trying to find a good, face to put together with a profile. Alright, so the next section we will be baking is skills. Yeah, here, just after the contact information, we want to be listing all of our skills that we have gathered so far in a clear and a concise form. And we're going to be using, let's say, a little bit of a modern take, where we are going to write the skill and then put an amount of stars that we will be introducing. So for example, we say Canva, and then we're going to put an emoji star. So yeah, and then we're going to say, okay, out of 5 stars, how many stars is Canva? We're gonna say, okay, 4, for example. Then we're gonna say Notion. Obviously, Notion we are a little bit more experienced in, so we're gonna be taking that one and we're gonna be putting like 4 stars there. Okay, so then since I work as a test manager and I've been working with quality assurance my entire life, we can put test management, yay, big amount of stars, 5 pieces. Then we can say video editing. Since I've been working on YouTube for 10 years, I've been learning a little bit about the video editing. I know some things, but not that much, so that gives it a 4 stars. So once you have listed all of your skills, then you can actually create a new heading, and we're going to be saying languages. Remember, here you need to put enough information to keep the employer interested, but if you dump a huge info dump on them, they're just going to be overwhelmed, and probably there's a good chance they might not read your CV in its entirety. So be very careful what you put in there. But for example, I think having a Croatian language is a very important skill that's going to serve me very good in life. So that's why I thought it was very important to include it. Now, sarcasm aside, I think skills are enough. Now let's go a little bit towards the work experience. Now there's 2 ways where you can go about it. Either you're going to be listing every single position that you have ever worked. That's one approach to do it. Or you could have just the recent experience in the biggest bracket, and then having the rest listed as just bullet points with a couple of snippets of text attached. In this case, I'm gonna go for, let's say, the main experience, where we will write each single function that we're doing and the time frame. So first you want to be putting, your job title. In my case, it's business analyst. I'm analyzing requirements and building, solution proposals and all that stuff. And then you want to be putting the organization name, and you want to be putting how long you have been working. Okay, I've been working since January 2014. Jesus, okay, it's been a while. Now, anyway, we're gonna be putting the next bullet points, which I think it's the most important that you put in a bunch of customized work experiences, and you need to customize it on per job basis. You don't want to be putting everything, but you want to be putting things that are most relevant for the position that you're applying for. And that's a little bit when it comes to customizing your CV. So from that perspective, you really want to be, customizing the work experience, highlighting relevant bits by bits, and you want to describe still the roles and responsibilities, but you also want to keep it brief but relevant. Remember, the job of the CV is to secure you an interview, not overwhelm the reader. If you think about along those lines, you will be thinking right. Okay, I would say about 3 bullets is just about right per job experience. You really don't want to be overwhelming the reader, so let's go to get to the previous position. So the previous position, what were we doing before that? And in my case, that would be, I was working as a test manager, so working with the QA, and I also want to be copying pretty much everything. So really no point in reinventing the wheel. You're gonna be putting a little bit grayer text and making sure that you modify the dates. The worst thing that what you can do with copy paste is that you've been working on all of this position during the same time frame. I mean, while technically it's possible, it just usually means that you're lazy writing the CV, so be careful about that. Then we're going to be copying the third one. I was working as test automation expert. As you can tell, I have a deep experience with a QA. Well, it happens. Let's say that's from 2007 till 2012. All right. So these 3 bullets I think are the most relevant. There are more, and you can keep adding them as you wish, but I think it's time that we switch over a little bit more to the education, which again, to your new employer, last 3 positions will be most interesting. Further down than that, it's questionable. You can actually just list them as a single bullet points, and then if they ask you to, clarify more, sure. Now, speaking of the education, you want to be listing which university have you studied, and then you want to be discussing what degree title did you have gotten, what grades did you have, if it's relevant, and then the year of graduation. Obviously it's kind of important, and the final thing that you want to be putting is 1 or 2 relevant bullet points that you would like to highlight, and if there are any awards, if there's something that you've been particularly proud of, is there something that's actually visible and tangible in the outer world, which they can go and check if it's something like that exists. You've been participating in a contest or winning an award or any sort of citations, certifications, and those kind of things. It's good to put them somewhere under the education phase. After the education, you can actually just, if you have more, you can add more. For example, like you have master thesis, PhD and whatnot. I don't think you need to go into too many details, but okay. Here we go. We're gonna just briefly change the coloring on this because I don't want to make them too in your face. Yeah. Right. So, now that that's done, we're gonna be putting here a component of, I think, hobbies and side hustles. I mean, while they're not particularly relevant for the job, they show you as a complete person and they show what your interests are and what projects have you been working with. For example, my project here is I'm working on these beautiful Notion templates that I like to sell on their various marketplaces, and you want to say which projects, maybe highlight them, provide links if they're publicly available, and what were your accomplishments and what skills did you gain. Because sometime, for example, in my case, I learned a lot from my side hustle, learning Notion, Canva, DaVinci Resolve, and many other tools, which from your work you haven't learned. In the work you have learned different tools. But from the side hustles, if you're that kind of a person, it's very beneficial to highlight them because who knows, maybe you get a job opportunity based on your side hustle. Why not? It has happened before. Okay, let's go down to the bottom section. Now, I want to be putting a different bar, and then I want to be putting it as the main bar for both of them because right now we're actually gonna drag this guy here. Cool. This one, actually, let's remove the extra rows. Oh, yeah, remove. Okay, and we're gonna be writing underneath. Now here, we're gonna go with a 3-column setup just to break this template a little bit further, so to make it like visually more appealing. And because besides, 3 columns I think works well. And in this case, we're gonna focusing on 3 things. We're gonna have, on the left-hand side, we're gonna have courses, which we're gonna be putting, let's switch header, we're gonna be putting the courses as an H3 header. So we say Java coding, object-oriented analysis and design, test automation. I'm just listing here a couple of examples which are applicable, I guess, in my case, but obviously you do you. And then I'm thinking we're gonna do the second column, and the second column is gonna be also, let's call it achievements. That one was gonna contain college awards, special achievements, list achievements, or anything other that you have, like maybe certifications might be a welcoming addition and that kind of stuff. So remember, your CV needs to be concise, but it has to provoke interest, and that's the main thing. So we're gonna be putting again this bar, and then we can gonna just delete those. I mean, if you have more and you would like to have more, of course you can go about it. And then the last part that we're gonna be introducing are the references. Now, the references are gonna make sure that you put in like reference 1, reference 2, reference 3. It's usually names, emails, and phone numbers, and typically you want to be calling a person. This is how it looks so far. It's really minimalistic, but it's actually kind of beautiful. So if we want to add more, we can actually see, pretty it up a little. So we can do an emoji. I mean, normally people don't like them that much, but when it comes to courses, a little bit of beautification doesn't hurt. So just keep it minimalistic, but impactful. Emoji, let's say, award, achievements. Let's say references, we could put like, we could put references. We can put, school graduation, education, yeah, something like student, work experience, so we can say, we can put like briefcase, not the briefs, that wouldn't be a very, very nice for, references. Education, The idea is that it has to look beautiful, because the whole purpose of the aesthetic design of a CV is to, stop the scroll. How to say? In the days of YouTube, everybody has attention span of wine fly, so you have to really make sure that you put in here. Let's say skills. We can say, yeah, we could put this could work with skills, for example. Languages, we can always put, the globe. And hobbies, we can put hobbies and side hustles. There we go. So I think this makes the CV looks kind of nice. It is very, very simplistic. It is very professional. And it can be easily later on, when you need it, it can be exported to PDF, and I think it's just fantastic. So, that is how you make a simple CV in Notion. Hope you liked today's episode, guys. Let me know what you think, and this CV will be available on my Notion Gumroad page. So, check it out. Link will be provided in the description below. And if you would like to learn for yourself how to create this amazing template intended for job search, then check out this video and I will be seeing you on the other side. Alternatively, just download it from the link below. Thanks for watching.